The person who becomes wealthy in the next 5 years doesn't look wealthy right now. They're not driving a new car. They're probably not posting about their portfolio. They might be eating the same lunch they packed 3 days in a row. And most people, looking at them from the outside, would never guess what's quietly happening beneath the surface. But there's a set of signs, behavioral patterns, psychological shifts, a kind of internal rewiring that happens before the money shows up. And if you're experiencing even a few of them, you might be further along than you think. What's the single most dangerous financial habit that almost everyone thinks is actually responsible? I'll get to it, but it's not what you expect. Here are 10 signs that real wealth is coming for you. And I mean specifically the kind that compounds quietly for a decade before anyone around you notices. Sign 1. You've stopped trying to look wealth. There's a 31-year-old named Marcus, makes decent money. Software engineer at a mid-sized company in Austin. He drives a 2014 Honda Civic with a cracked back bumper, wears the same rotation of 5 shirts, and every time his coworkers upgrade to the newest iPhone, he shrugs and says his phone still works fine. His coworkers think he's being cheap. He's not. He's building. 2 years ago, Marcus quietly crossed $200,000 in index funds. He doesn't talk about it. He's not trying to prove anything to anyone. Here's the shift that almost nobody explains well. The desire to perform wealth and the desire to actually build it are almost completely opposed. Every dollar you spend on looking rich is a dollar that can't compound. Every upgrade you delay is capital you keep. Morgan Housel writes about this in The Psychology of Money. That wealth is what you don't see. The car not bought, the watch not worn, the dinner not posted on Instagram. The loudest people in the room about money are rarely the ones with the most of it. Silence is often the first sign. If you've started caring less about what your financial life looks like from the outside, that's not apathy. That's discipline. That's the first real sign. Sign 2. Boredom no longer costs you money. Most people have no idea how much of their spending is emotional, not need-based, not even want-based, really. Just boredom, restlessness, a Sunday afternoon with nothing happening and Amazon is one click away. The average American household spends somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000 a year on what researchers call emotional spending, purchases made specifically to change a mood. That's not a small number. Compounded over a decade at 10%, you're looking at $30,000 to $60,000 that vanished into things nobody even remembers buying. The quietly wealthy person has usually solved this problem, not through willpower, but through replacement. They found something that fills the same emotional gap that spending used to fill. A craft, a sport, a book habit, a long walk with a podcast. The dopamine still gets fed, just not by a credit card. If your relationship with boredom has quietly changed, pay attention. That's not a small thing. Sign 3. You've started thinking in decades, not months. Here's something most financial education skips. The single biggest wealth gap between people isn't income. It's time horizon. How far into the future a person can hold their attention when making a decision. A 28-year-old who's thinking about who they'll be at 50 will make completely different decisions than someone managing their life sprint to sprint. They'll invest money that won't pay off for years. They'll take a pay cut for a better opportunity. They'll stay in a city they don't love because the career trajectory is right. They tolerate short-term pain for long-term compound. Charlie Munger talked about this constantly. He called it delayed gratification on a civilizational scale. The people who get wealthy are the ones who can hold 2 timelines simultaneously. The present one, where they're making sacrifices, and the future one, where those sacrifices are paying off quietly in the background. There's a 4th sign that has nothing to do with how much you earn or spend, and it's probably the strangest one on this list. Keep watching. Sign 4. You've become genuinely curious about where money goes. Not obsessive, not anxious, curious. There's a difference between someone who checks their bank account with dread and someone who checks it like a scientist checking on an experiment. The dread person is reactive. They're managing damage. The curious person is proactive. They're tracking data points in a system they understand. Here's the strange sign. When you start actually reading about money, not because you have to, but because you want to, something is shifting. Most people never get curious about money. They just hope it works out. The person who starts asking, where did that $200 go and what did it buy me, is already operating on a different level than 80% of the people around them. Curiosity is the precursor to control. Control is the precursor to wealth. Sign 5, your skills are growing faster than your salary. This one matters more than most people realize. Income has a ceiling when it's purely based on time. There are only so many hours, only so many raises. But skills compound differently. A person who is measurably more capable this year than last year is building an asset that can be monetized in ways their current job doesn't even reflect yet. The coming wealthy person is usually doing something in their off hours that nobody's paying them for yet. They're learning a second language, getting better at public speaking, taking on projects at work that stretch beyond their job description, building a tiny side project that earns $200 a month but teaches them more about entrepreneurship than any MBA would. The income is a lagging indicator. The skill is the leading one. Pay attention to skills, not salary. Sign 6, your circle is quietly changing. This isn't about cutting people off. It's subtler than that. It's about the conversations that are starting to energize you, the friends you find yourself seeking out, the dinner table that's more interesting to you now. Studies on social influence and financial behavior consistently show that a person's financial outcomes are heavily correlated with the average of the 5 people they spend the most time with. Not because of peer pressure, but because of what becomes normal, what feels possible, what questions get asked. If the people around you are thinking about building something, your baseline shifts. If they're not, the pull toward comfort and status quo is relentless. If you've noticed that you're gravitating toward people who talk about building things, who are honest about money, who take their futures seriously, that's not an accident. That's a sign of what you're becoming. Sign 7, setbacks no longer spiral. Here's the one that sounds the strangest. The person approaching wealth handles financial setbacks differently than the person stuck in financial anxiety. Not because they have more money as a buffer, sometimes they don't yet, but because their relationship with risk has matured. A failed $200 car repair used to feel like a catastrophe. Now it feels like a data point, a reminder to build the emergency fund faster, a lesson in the cost of old cars or in the value of mechanical warranties. This is what financial resilience actually looks like before it looks like money. The setback hits, the emotion passes. The adjustment gets made, the system continues. Most people lose wealth not in one dramatic crash, but in 1,000 small emotional reactions that compound into nothing. Resilience is an asset. Sign 8. You've stopped comparing your Chapter 3 to someone else's Chapter 20. Social media has done something genuinely damaging to people's ability to build wealth. Not because it's evil, but because it presents the highlights of the most successful people you know, usually right in the middle of your own most ordinary moments. The person who finally exits this loop, who stops measuring their $12,000 brokerage account against someone else's highlight reel, gains back something enormous. The mental and emotional energy that comparison was consuming gets redirected into building, quietly, consistently, without an audience. There's a moment, usually in your late 20s or early 30s, when some people stop posting about money and start making it. The correlation is real. Sign 9. You've automated your savings before you see the money. This is the most mechanical sign on this list, and maybe the most important, because it means you've stopped trusting willpower to build wealth and started trusting systems. The dangerous habit I mentioned at the top, it's saving whatever's left at the end of the month. It feels responsible. It feels like trying. But what it actually does is fund your lifestyle first and your future second. Every month, lifestyle wins. The person on the path to building wealth has flipped this. They pay themselves first, automatically before they see the money, and lifestyle adjusts to whatever remains. It sounds simple. It is simple. But it's the exact opposite of what most people do, and it changes everything. The discipline is built into the system, not into the moment. That's the difference between building wealth and just hoping for it. Sign 10. You're starting to think about ownership, not just income. This is the mental shift that separates income earners from wealth builders. Income is what you make. Wealth is what you own. And what you own can grow while you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're doing literally anything else. When a person starts thinking, even vaguely, Wes, about owning things that generate returns, a small piece of an index fund, a rental property someday, an equity stake in something they're building, a small business, they've crossed a psychological threshold that most people never cross. You don't need to be rich to start thinking like an owner. You just need to start. A $500 investment in a broad market index fund is still ownership. The mental model is already in place. And once that model is in place, it tends to grow. They did. They always did. In every video, I try to discuss and address the factors that surely improve the chances of your success. If you like this also, subscribe the channel, like and share the wealthy knowledge to your loved ones. I'll see you in the next one.